Hello everyone, and welcome back to UFO Evidence, your home for exploring the most compelling mysteries in our skies. Today, we're diving deep into some of the most baffling and well-documented UFO cases that continue to defy explanation. These aren't just blurry photos or campfire stories. These are incidents witnessed by credible observers, tracked on radar, and investigated by officials, yet they remain stubbornly unsolved. So, grab your headphones, dim the lights, and prepare to question what you think you know about the world above us. Let's start our journey in 1952, a year that saw a massive wave of UFO sightings across the globe. One of the most famous events of that year was the Washington, D.C. UFO incident, also known as the Washington Flap. Over 2 consecutive weekends in July, numerous unidentified flying objects were spotted over the nation's capital. These weren't fleeting glimpses. Air traffic controllers at Washington National Airport, now Reagan National, and military personnel at Andrews Air Force Base tracked multiple unexplained targets on their radar screens. The objects moved at incredible speeds, made sharp, 90-degree turns, and hovered motionless, maneuvers far beyond the capabilities of any known aircraft at the time. In response, the U.S. Air Force scrambled F-94 Starfire jet interceptors to investigate. Pilots reported seeing bright, fast-moving lights. In one famous instance, a pilot locked onto one of the objects, but before he could take any action, the lights simply surrounded his aircraft and then sped away at an unbelievable velocity. The official explanation was a temperature inversion, a weather phenomenon that can cause radar anomalies. However, many experts, including some of the radar operators and pilots involved, found this explanation insufficient. How could a weather event appear as solid, distinct objects, correlate with visual sightings, and intelligently react to the presence of military jets? To this day, the Washington Flap remains a classic high-strangeness case that has never been satisfactorily explained. Fast forward to 1967, and we encounter the Falcon Lake incident in Manitoba, Canada. This case is remarkable because it involves not just a sighting, but alleged physical evidence and injury to the witness. An amateur geologist named Stefan Michalak was prospecting in the woods near Falcon Lake when he was startled by the sound of 2 descending, glowing, saucer-shaped objects. One landed nearby, while the other flew off. Intrigued and unafraid, Michalak approached the landed craft. He described it as a seamless metallic object about 35 feet in diameter. He heard a whirring sound and smelled a scent like burnt electronics. He noted strange purple light emanating from openings in the craft. When he reached out to touch the smooth surface, his glove melted. The craft then suddenly tilted, and a blast of hot gas from a grid-like vent on its side struck him in the chest, setting his shirt on fire. He was thrown backward, and the craft ascended silently and disappeared. A dazed and burned Michalak stumbled back to civilization. He suffered from severe nausea, headaches, and first-degree burns on his chest in a distinct grid pattern that matched the vent he had described. For weeks afterward, the burn marks would reappear. The site of the incident was later investigated by authorities, who found a 30-foot circle of flattened ground and high levels of radioactivity. Despite extensive investigations by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Royal Canadian Air Force, no conventional explanation for Michalak's experience and injuries has ever been found. The physical evidence makes the Falcon Lake incident one of the most compelling cases of a close encounter on record. Now let's travel across the Atlantic to Belgium in the late 1980s. Between 1989 and 1990, thousands of Belgians, including police officers and military personnel, reported seeing large, silent, triangular-shaped objects moving slowly across the night sky. These craft were often described as having bright lights at each corner and a larger pulsating red light in the center. The sightings were so widespread and credible that the Belgian Air Force took them very seriously. On the night of March 30, 1990, the situation escalated. 2 F-16 fighter jets were scrambled to intercept objects that were being tracked on multiple ground and airborne radar systems. For over an hour, the pilots attempted to engage the targets. The F-16's advanced radar systems locked onto the objects several times, confirming their presence. The recorded data showed the objects performing incredible maneuvers, including descending from 10,000 feet to just 500 feet in a matter of seconds, a speed and rate of descent that would be fatal for any human pilot and structurally impossible for conventional aircraft. Each time the pilots achieved a lock and moved to visually identify the targets, the objects would accelerate to speeds far beyond the capabilities of the F-16s and vanish from radar, only to reappear moments later, miles away. The Belgian military later held a press conference where Major General Wilfried de Brouwer openly admitted they had no explanation for the phenomena. He stated, "The Belgian Air Force has arrived to the conclusion that a certain number of anomalous phenomena has been produced within Belgian airspace. The bottom line is that we don't have an explanation." This official, high-level admission makes the Belgian UFO wave one of the most significant mass sighting events in modern history. Let's move to a more recent and highly publicized event. The 2004 USS Nimitz encounter, sometimes called the Tic Tac incident. This case was brought to mainstream attention by the 2017 release of declassified Pentagon videos. In November 2004, the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group was conducting training exercises off the coast of San Diego. For 2 weeks, the advanced SPY-1 radar system of the nearby USS Princeton had been tracking anomalous aerial phenomena. These objects appeared suddenly at 80,000 feet, would plummet to 20,000 feet, hover, and then shoot back up. Finally, the carrier group decided to investigate. 2 FA-18 Super Hornets led by Commander David Fravor were diverted to the location of one of these objects. What they saw stunned them. Hovering just above the ocean, which was churning as if something was underneath it, was a smooth, white, oblong object with no wings, no rotors, and no visible propulsion system. It looked, as Fravor described it, like a giant, white tic-tac. As Fravor descended to get a closer look, the object began to mirror his movements. Then, it accelerated at a speed he described as, like nothing I've ever seen, disappearing in an instant. Seconds later, the USS Princeton reacquired the object on its radar, 60 miles away. This incident wasn't just a visual sighting. It was corroborated by multiple highly trained pilots, sophisticated radar data from several ships and aircraft, and infrared video footage. The performance characteristics of the Tic Tac defy our current understanding of physics and aerodynamics, and it remains a cornerstone case in the modern UFO discussion. From military encounters over Washington, D.C. to close encounters in the Canadian wilderness, from massive triangular craft over Belgium to hypersonic Tic Tacs over the Pacific, these cases represent just the tip of the iceberg. They share common threads: credible witnesses, advanced technology, and a complete lack of any conventional explanation. They challenge our assumptions and force us to ask profound questions about our place in the universe. Are we alone? And if not, what are these objects and what is their intent? The evidence suggests that something extraordinary is happening in our skies, something that deserves serious, scientific investigation. What do you think? Are these cases definitive proof of extraterrestrial visitation, or are there more down-to-earth, albeit still unknown, explanations? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love reading your theories and perspectives. And if you found this deep dive as fascinating as we did, please hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to UFO Evidence and ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration into the unknown. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep looking up, keep looking.